show, and let's meet our panel. First, he lives a lifestyle of the rich and famous and hosts gourmet getaways on the TV Food Network, Robin Leach. Yes. Robin, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. She is a contributing editor at the American Spectator and wrote Dan Quayle's famous Murphy Brown speech. Our friend Lisa Schifrin. Yeah. Hi, baby. There you go. She is a hugely popular singer-songwriter. Her hit single is Angry Johnny. It's on her hit CD, Hello, Poe. Nice to meet you. All right, the star of stage, screen, and Seinfeld's new movie, Love, Valor, Compassion, opens Friday. Remember that, May 16th. Jason Alexander. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, there's a lot of very, very important things going on in the world, but let's talk about Eddie Murphy, because, you know, the mandate of this show has always been to talk about what people are talking about, and that's really what people are talking about today. Now, poor Eddie apparently was giving a lift to someone. He must have been, I guess he was looking at the President's Summit on Volunteerism last week. He took that to heart. And at 4:25 a.m. was out buying a paper. And that is a time of the day when I feel confident to invite a stranger into my car. I don't really have a question, but isn't this just a load of crap?
I think it's probably the best spin control story that's ever been given out, because it reeks of the truth.
I think it's as plausible as Marla Maples using that little stand on the beach with her lifeguard friend to pee. Steve, the reason for
what was her excuse?
Well, that's what she said. The call of nature, and her bodyguard was guarding her privacy.
So you're suggesting that for Eddie Murphy, it too was a call of nature?
Nature calls in so many ways.
Say hallelujah.
I'll say this, he could employ me in the future, so I tend to believe whatever he wants to tell me. I believe
and that's the Hollywood line.
Just a good Samaritan. He's a hell of a guy.
He is a hell of a
Maybe
guy.
he was doing some method acting training, you know. He thought I could possibly play a female impersonator in the future.
Exactly.
Picked up some mannerisms.
Well, I don't mean to be...
It's not all you'd pick up doing that.
I don't mean to be cynical, but I think people out here know that area, Santa Monica Boulevard, is a place where there are transvestite prostitutes.
Santa Monica and where exactly? Kidding, honey, kidding.
It's a block away from Divine Brown's last stand with Hugh Grant.
No, it's not. It's a different neighborhood. Those are women...
Well, you've got a lot of neighborhoods like that out here.
Yes, there are. That's Hollywood Boulevard. That's where... Hollywood Boulevard, you can get an actual vagina, you know. But Santa Monica Boulevard...
Not one that's been surgically altered.
No. Those are women prostitutes. Don't take this down to the gutter level.
Nothing's guaranteed, okay? Even on Hollywood Boulevard.
No, you're right. I mean, and some of these guys, look, I mean, they would fool you, don't you think?
Yeah, they're fabulous. There was, I did a show in New York for a year, and every night I would come out of the theater and wait for the bus to go home, and there was a little Oriental prostitute there, and, you know, I was really want a date, and I finally said, you know, I'm going to be here hopefully a year in this run, so I'm never going to want a date, but you're a lovely person. And we would chat, and she was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. 8 months I talked to this girl, and finally there's a cop on a horse, she goes, you know that's a guy. I went, come on! Come on! I mean, yeah, they had busted him God knows how many times. I said, boy, that was my future ex-Mrs. Yeah.
But you never went to buy a newspaper at 4 in the morning
That's true.
Him or her.
I mean,
that's true.
See, this to me is a little skeptical.
You don't even have newspapers worth buying out here.
But Eddie's so rich. I mean, I'm just a member of the public. I know the names of several members of his entourage. Fruity. We all know Fruity, right? I mean, I'm saying if the general public knows the names of people who you employ as an entourage, you yourself are not buying a paper at 4 in the morning.
You know,
No, is that wrong? Is that...
Somehow this will become a racist issue. Somehow.
Am I too cynical about this? Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask about that is, you know, Eddie, we all knew, had a house in New Jersey called Bubble Hill.
Well, that tells you everything right there, doesn't it?
No, what do you mean?
Bubbles.
Okay. Anyway, but if your house has a name, does your house have a name?
I like to call it Phil, but that's just me, you know.
But like Graceland,
Yeah.
right? San Simeon. I mean, there are people. If your house has a name, shouldn't you pay more taxes than everybody else?
Absolutely not. You see, this is...
Okay, we have a debate. We will get back to it in just 1 minute.
If you're planning to be in the Los Angeles area and would like free tickets to Politically Incorrect, call 213-852-2655.
Okay, we're back, and we were starting to talk about taxes, which is very prevalent these days because the government just made a big deal. They're going to balance the budget, but part of it is that
They're going to balance the budget?
They are.
Really?
You believe that, and I'll believe that Eddie Murphy was out buying a paper at 4
Deal.
Okay, but a big part of the deal is this thing with an estate tax. Now, an estate tax meaning when you die. Okay, if you die with less than $600,000,
Specifically you, of course.
you don't have to pay any money.
Because I'm imminently the next one to go, obviously.
But if you die with $600,000, which after a whole lifetime doesn't mean you're exactly rich, you have to pay 37% of that to the government. And if you die with $3 million, 55%. Now that could take you the better part of a month to make. Do you really?
And his house doesn't even have a name.
With your new deal, that could be 3 weeks'
I got to tell you
work.
that. No, seriously, about estate tax. No, people, stay with me on this. You make the money, you pay the tax. You invest the money, you pay more tax on the money you already paid tax on.
I agree.
When I die, could you leave me the hell alone?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
A guy, you know, some school teacher saves all his life. He has $35,000 he hands his kid at the end of his life, and the kid pays $40,000 in estate tax. It makes no sense.
This is sort of the liberal theory of taxation where the nut of which is if it moves, tax it. When it stops, tax it.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, there's no transaction between human beings, possibly excluding Eddie Murphy and the transvestite hooker, that the government doesn't get a piece of, which is actually kind of discouraging.
But you think you said before when we had that little exchange, you think they should tax this kind of money?
When he's dead?
Well, when anybody
Everybody's
dies.
partying when I'm dead.
Well,
I
I
don't
know isn't there also a proposal that says that they also at the same time want to raise it to $1.2 million that is not taxable.
Yeah, I mean, they want to tinker with
$1.2
it.
million, you probably have made some money over your
If
lifetime.
you've contributed your entire life to the federal tax system, why the hell should you contribute to it when you're dead?
Look, that's right. The
Yeah.
point really is
But,
that
yes.
the money has already been taxed, and much of it has probably been taxed twice because much of it will, in fact, be a function of investment. And it's really unclear why the government is owed a piece of everything you do and any time money changes hands.
But
your money that could otherwise go to your kids. And it doesn't actually matter whether you have a little bit or a lot or really a lot. It's yours. Why does the government need more of it?
Yes, because, right. But what about, now I've often on this show advocated something I call the Elvis tax, which is a tax on things that are just purely so ridiculously over the top. Like if you have gold faucets, you know, people have solid gold faucets. I say you can buy one, but you've got to pay 100% tax on that. All right. What do you think about that, Mr.
I like that
Lifestyle?
I agree with that.
Yeah, right.
But I don't agree. No. There are levels of taxation, just like there are levels of cruising Santa Monica Boulevard. The rich are happy to pay taxes because the rich have made the money in the first place.
The rich are not happy to pay
Yes, they
taxes.
are.
Where
They
are
don't
you
mind
getting
paying
this out
taxes.
of?
They just object to paying more than their fair share of taxes.
Yeah, but Bill, the question is with those gold faucets, if you're going to call it a luxury tax, we had that in the Bush administration. It absolutely failed. It put yacht builders out of work. It didn't stop people from buying.
Oh.
Well, those are working class guys.
Yacht builders out of work.
Boat builders. Let's call them boat builders. It put all sorts of people who in fact manufacture
But a
luxury
boat
goods.
is not a yacht, please.
But most boats actually cost enough so that they, in fact, can be called yachts. I mean, the fact is almost anybody who's buying a boat is buying a boat expensive enough, not a canoe, so that it got taxed. The point is, I'm opposed to a luxury tax because it turns out to be counterproductive. But if you want to have a vulgarity tax, I think that's a good idea.
A vulgarity tax. That's a wonderful word for it.
Boy, that's the end of the Fox network.
I think I get it. Okay, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, and you had mentioned vulgarity, so I thought I'd open up with this. This is the cover of Out magazine, which I guess is out this month, and there you are. Can you see this? Can you get a close-up of what this is? This is Mr. Jason Alexander, and I know you're promoting...
I would say no big thing, but they might take it the wrong way.
I know you're promoting your movie, Love, Valor, Compassion, but you've got your hand down the shorts of this gay man.
Well, that would certainly be what it looks like, doesn't it?
But you were really buying a newspaper.
And then,
I was just buying a
I was out. And then here's the cover of Ebony magazine this month with Magic Johnson on the cover. It says, "The Lord has healed Irvin." Now, I don't know. Last time I checked, AIDS was still a bad thing. If it's over, it's over. Let's celebrate. If it's not, is this kind of stuff irresponsible?
This is really dangerous. Seriously, this is really dangerous. I think we all know the protease inhibitors are doing great, amazing things. Some people are really going into remission. It's saving lives. But this is a drug therapy that you have to live on the rest of your life. That little virus is just sitting right there.
Very pleasant
Now, if she
either.
really thinks that Irvin is cured, I say get off the drug.
What about this? Can you, like 5 or 6, 7 years ago, when people were a little more concerned about this disease, do you think they would put out this kind of cover of a magazine?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, that's a gay magazine that's targeted at gay men.
I know, but has always tried to, and I think admirably so, has always tried to maintain a certain degree of sensuality and sexuality within their ranks while still being responsible to this disease. That is for fun, and they would have fun with that, and I think they would have done that at the height of the AIDS epidemic. I think.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, I think that there are the front in the gay community has been about making America aware of AIDS, and I think creating this victim status that the whole rest of the country has had to respond to with tax dollars and guilt. And in reality, gay behavior, and this is according to gay leaders and gay health workers, has actually for some time now, certainly this decade, become increasingly irresponsible about safe sex. Safe sex, it turns out, is not actually practiced very widely in the gay community. Even a place like New York, where 50% of gay men test HIV positive, the random encounters go on, and most of them are not productive. So, in fact, this is a weird and nebulous thing, and there are an awful lot of mixed.
Well, I have heard the same thing. I have heard gay men say, "Look, I know the risks, but that is the whole point of the lifestyle. That is the whole point for me, is to have this kind of
Russian roulette.
Right. Or frequent sex that you couldn't. I mean, heterosexuals, just don't score like that.
Well, this brings us to the question of why Mrs. Irvin would
to
say
Hollywood.
Mrs. Irvin, it seems to me, is the last person who wants to advertise her husband being available again to his groupies.
Right.
I was just going to say, maybe she should also say that it's been proven that he never slept with anyone but her.
Well, that would be hard to prove.
So is this.
Was this story put out by Eddie Murphy's publicist?
Would you get off of Eddie Murphy?
Look, it's a disservice, especially to the black community, and to black kids who read that magazine.
I do think I agree. I mean, I think that is terribly irresponsible to say, I mean, the Lord has healed Urban, and now people are going to read that and think, well, you can do what you want and then just pray.
Right.
You know, and there was another case this week that was in the news of somebody, a Christian scientist, who lost a second child because they prayed.
That's
and I'm not
a terrible
against
story.
faith for anybody, but I mean, at a certain point, don't you have
take
to
a Tylenol? That's some
take?
point.
Exactly.
Don't you have to say, you know, to even parents who are Christian scientists, you can have your faith, but I mean, whether you kill a kid,
Well,
you
the
know,
parents have been indicted. I mean, our court
Yes.
system actually says you can have your faith, but you can't actually kill your child. And that was actually a matter of great dispute for 100 years with Christian Science. And it's pretty much been resolved state by state that when parents let their children die, they are now held liable.
but it's a big issue because these people are saying, hey, this is a country where we have religious freedom. This is part of our religion. I mean, this is what we believe. We believe in prayer.
I wonder in that particular story if anybody approached the child who was sick and said, would you like to see a doctor? Or if it was just being imposed upon. You see, in that case, I go, well, that's murder. You know, if the
But she
child
also,
sitting there...
the child herself also said, I don't want to go to the doctor. God will save me. I mean,
Right.
she was right on that party
But what
line
kid
with the
wants to
parents.
go to
but
a
she's
doctor?
16 years old.
That's,
No,
you know, that's like asking a kid if he wants to do homework.
I think she would have wanted to go to the doctor.
Right.
I think she would have been too afraid to. She wanted to please her parents at the same time by being, you know, a
Right.
godly child and dying.
Right. Well,
Oh, she came through.
Yeah, she did come through.
okay.
What a good girl.
Yeah.
We have run the show right down to the level of tragedy. We have to take a break.
And just before she went...
And,